Welcome, everyone. Kevin Carpenter back again. And today I have Jon Kalb, who, okay, I just have to say, like, John is the reason that I do these. And so in 2018, I I was my first time going back to CppCon as a volunteer because I started a new company. And so I'm like, I'm going to volunteer. And John and Brett, who was the volunteer coordinator at the time, they're like, we got a perfect job for you. You should interview speakers. And so John is coming to CPP on C for his first time. I'm here because of John in a lot of ways. And my gosh, John, we've had so many years. I can't thank you enough for everything. But welcome.
Kevin, I'm delighted to be here. I'm so glad that you reached out because anybody who knows me knows that I'm always happy to talk about conference talks.
I mean, because you speak at conferences, you're a trainer, years of experience. I mean, you were working Dow Chemical before I got out of high school. So, you know, Yeah, I'm sorry. I was joking with John. I'm gonna fanboy a little bit because CppCon. You help run that conference. You used to work with C++ now, which is interesting because this is C++. You actually gave that here just a few weeks ago at C++ now, right?
Yeah, this will be, I guess, the third time I've presented in public because I did it for the local user group and I did it at C++ now, and I'm looking forward to doing it at C++ on C. And this is really, as a conference organizer, I can see why people might think that you want material that nobody's ever seen before. We all want all new material. That's not the way I look at it. I actually would rather you have given it a few times. I tell people, give the talk in your company, give the talk in your local user group, give the talk at a regional conference, and then come to CppCon. And by that time, you have anticipated the questions, you've incorporated your talk so those questions don't come up, and you have more confidence. It just goes smoother. And so I love to have people repeat talks. Now we don't have people who repeat talks that gave at our conference before because those are recorded, and we want new material every year. But we're happy to take talks that have been presented a few times, and I know myself that this talk at at CPB on C is going to be smoother and tighter than my previous talks. It just is that way. That's just the way it is.
Well, and I totally understand what you're saying because I gave a talk tooling intuition, which my first time doing it this last year was at meeting C++, and and it was good. And I practiced beforehand. We all do our dry runs, but then I gave it again at C++ online, which was my first virtual talk ever given. So I was even more nervous because you're not seeing the crowd, but it was interesting because the feedback actually worked well in Zoom. But to your point, it's like you polish it a bit more. You have a few different slides. You realize what the questions were, the things that you missed, because you get that feedback, and it just makes for a better presentation all the way through. I absolutely
Right.
agree.
Right. You had a few extra slides to make the transitions better. Yeah, all of those things. And this particular talk evolved greatly. While I was at C++ now, I I drafted a few people. One of the nice things about C++ now is the audience is amazing, and I drafted a few very knowledgeable people to do a dry run, and it changed a lot in 24 hours because got a lot of great feedback from the dry run and really changed it. Changed really some of the top level emphasis to really focus on what it means to write safe code, which is a hot topic now. And I had touched on it, but not developed it well. And that was part of the feedback was that this should be a stronger part of my talk. And so that's valuable feedback, and will make for a better talk.
That's interesting you say that because Aaron Robinson, who we know because he assists conference chair at CppCon, and I was fortunate because he volunteered at C++ now, but he was telling me about all the prep you were doing for this talk because it was a little controversial. Now I did not get to see it at C++ now, so I'm excited to see it at C++ on C, CPP on C, but can you give a hint as to why, some people might find that this talk was controversial?
Well, I don't want to spill too much, but I guess I'll say it anyway. I think one of the things that is a big controversy facing the community today is to decide how to think about move from objects and what are the constraints we place on move from objects. And there are wildly different interpretations of, well, how we should think about move from objects, and the performance implications of some of those decisions are huge. And that's um, very much about why I wanted to give this talk. But as I got into it, the argument that I was making is really this is about the nature of C++. In other words, I was trying to make the talk that the answer for how to think about move from objects goes back to how to think about C++ and what C++ is about fundamentally. And so that's why I made the scope of the talk bigger. I mean, how can you have a bigger scope and what is C++? That's a huge scope. But what I'm trying to say is there are there's a way to think about C++, there's a way to think about safe code, there's a way to think about what we're trying to accomplish in C++. And when we understand that, and then we can apply it. And I have a few examples of particular, why did we do this? Why do we do this way? And the answer, of course, is, well, that's because it's consistent with how we're thinking about C++. And then when we looked at move from objects, and I'm making the argument there to bolster my side, because obviously I have a very strong opinion about this. And I understand the other side. And I hope that I present it well. But but my argument is that when it comes right down to it, and you understand what we're trying to accomplish with C++, the answer for how to think about move from objects is should be pretty clear. And so that's what I present in the talk. And on the way, we talk about that what we're trying to accomplish with C++ at the highest level. We talk about things like undefined behavior and safe code and all sorts of things like that.
Undefined behaviors, I was looking through the abstract that you had originally. It's like that's one of those interesting things to me because I've been working with Patrice Roy on his memory safety book, and it seems to me, and I want you to correct me because you definitely have more experience than I do on that. Is there a line that we skate with undefined behavior of like those corner cases where you might use something that in another edge is undefined behavior, or is that just always bad?
That's a great question. And I've got an hour-long answer for that because that's exactly what we're talking about. So obviously, we hate undefined behavior, right? Undefined behavior destroys the application. It means that there's no assumptions you can't reason about any code with undefined behavior because it's invalid. On the other hand, we need to learn to love undefined behavior because its existence is what allows us to be able to say, this is why we're going to be so performant. It's because instead of saying, oh, doesn't matter what you write, we have to make sense out of it. And we have to be performant. The compiler has to generate efficient code for no matter what you write. That's not the way we think about it. The way we think about it is, look, as long as you write code like this, what we call defined behavior, then you're going to get not just correct behavior, but you're going to get really efficient behavior. And then there's other codes that there is no efficient way to implement. And so what we say is don't write code that way. And it's frustrating or can be frustrating to people who are new to the language because they say, well, I should just be able to write anything and the compiler should try to make sense out of it. But that's not the right way to think about it. And the burden is on us as programmers. But the payoff that we get is just unparalleled performance. You don't get this kind of performance in languages that give you those kinds of guarantees where, oh, then no behavior is undefined. The compiler will make sense of no matter what you write. But the problem is that, as I say, there's trade-off to that because and we explore that in the talk. That's what the talk is really about is embracing undefined behavior. Not that we want that. No, 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 we don't want that. But we embrace the
Right.
concept by saying, by I actually in my talk use the analogy of going down a ski slope. If you go down the well-groomed center of the ski slope, you can just lightning fast, right? But
Right.
that means that you have to stay away from the edges where there are, tree stumps and rocks and maybe a cliff or a crevasse or something like that. if you stay to the defined behavior, you're not only going to get correct behavior, you're going to get lightning fast behavior. And that's the trade off. So,
That is excellent. And I'm so looking forward to the talk. So, again, backing up a little bit. So, your first time to CPP on Sea. So, have you been to
yes,
Folkestone or Dover before?
no, no.
Oh,
Um, it's not going to be our first time to England. We've been to England a few times and done a few things in London. In fact, I went to the final live Monty Python performance.
oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I'm a Python fanboy, so don't get me started on that. I will say this because people ask me about it. What was it? And I'd say I think it's the only performance I've ever been to where I think the audience knew the lines better than the cast.
I can imagine.
but uh, but we have not been to Dover. We've not been to C and I've been looking forward to it ever since Phil's been doing it because he's come to my conference and is great, and I want to
Yes.
I want to see what he's achieved. I want to be part of that, and so yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
It's interesting because that was the thing. Like in 2018, that was also the first year that I met Phil. And because I got to take his test driven development workshop, um, which was also excellent. If you ever need test driven development, highly recommend it. Folkestone, I've said this in a couple other videos, but my favorite thing is when we get volunteers there that are new, I take a picture of the outside because it's this little coffee shop that you look at from the street. And you're like, yeah, we're going to put 200 people in there or, 300 people in there. And they're like, there's just no way. And you walk into the coffee shop and the stairs go down into the cliff. And it's just, you know, you can be out on the balcony looking at France. The weather is beautiful. And it's just one of our favorite, Christy was saying today, because she comes and volunteers, she's like, it is one of my favorite venues to just be at. The building is just excellent. So I look forward to seeing you there, John. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and and yes, if you don't already have your spot for CPP on C, get it because you want to see this talk. This is C plus plus. John, thanks again, and see you in July.
Looking forward to it.